Hello everyone, Thomas Weimbs here. I'm the president of Santa Barbara Nutrients, and it's a great pleasure to meet with Chris today, who also goes by NightmareRH. We've got to know each other, recently, like a month or so ago, when he reached out and told me about his experience with the Ren-Nu program and with Keto Citra, and it turns out he's a YouTuber with a very large following, and very, very kindly did a fundraiser for research, PKD and research in my lab. So I was really grateful about that. And I thought maybe today we'll pick your brain and try to find out, who is NightmareRH, and what is your story behind Keto Citra and Ren-Nu and the dietary changes, and what has been your experience. So welcome, Chris.
Hey, thank you so much for having me, Thomas. I really, once again, appreciate every single thing you do along with your staff, and especially moving forward into the new year 2025. And everything that you have planned lining up. It really does mean a lot to the community. And yes, I did get to talk to actually probably close to about well over 4 dozen people with polycystic kidney disease now after that fundraiser event.
Hmm.
At the beginning, I said I just really wanted to, spread awareness and talk to at least one person, and those videos are, still there. The playlist are, still getting views, and more and more people are, definitely becoming aware of that. Hey, you could potentially treat this underlying chronic disease with a dietary management. Obviously, it may not work for everyone, or it may not work in the way like it does for some people. But I'm personally seeing tremendous results. I've talked to quite a few people who have been taking Keto Citra too, and they've seen tremendous results also. So I definitely see a lot of similarities here.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, let's back up first to make sure everyone knows who Chris slash NightmareRH actually is. Yeah. So maybe could you just give us a quick, update on what your background is, and your career and so on? That'd be fantastic.
Yeah, so I actually don't have a medical field background at all. I have actually a military background and marketing background too. Military side, I joined the United States Marine Corps Reserve straight out of high school, 2007. And then recently went through a medical retirement, which concluded November 2022, and started a YouTube channel back in 2008. Ramped up a few other channels, ran a very successful internet show all the way up until 2013-ish, and just kind of been doing small stuff, but still have a following definitely on YouTube. And that's where we did the fundraiser event for your research lab on my main channel, NightmareRH. But general background, like I said, I think I'm probably in the last 8, 9, yeah, it's about 8 months now since I've really dived into this world. I've probably self-educated myself more than I have ever thought I would, especially in this lifetime. But never in my life did I think I'd ever do anything, medical, related, or just, do something, or have to, go through this. Um, Background, which I do believe it's definitely relevant, and I know that you've talked about, exercise a lot. But my background with PKD is significantly a lot different than I think a lot of people that I've talked to. I have no family history at all of polycystic kidney disease, so I am definitely classified as a mutant, which I guess is really not uncommon, but from my renal doctor's point of view, it being a mutation could actually be a little more detrimental, because you're not going to look at this at like such, an early age and stuff. And it was really a fluke how I pretty much discovered PKD. Very active all throughout, right after high school, all throughout my 20s. I was an absolute runaholic. I used to run 30 miles a week during the winter months. Ramped it up to 30, 40 miles a week during summertime. I never made it to a full marathon, but I did two half marathons by myself, which was definitely a bum kicker to do all that by yourself. But very big into weightlifting, and early 2021, I actually had a terrible bilateral knee injury, so that kind of stopped my exercising. That same year, a couple months later, I ended up in the ER. I was actually stationed in Germany, Stuttgart, Germany, with the military, and I thought I had appendicitis. It turned out to be a really bad muscle tear in that general area. And as I'm in the hospital, the doctor is doing an ultrasound, and she sees all these tiny, tiny little cysts, and they were scattered on both my kidneys. And she just mentioned it, and nothing really came of it. I was dealing with a lot of orthopedical issues too. So when I ended up leaving the service, the military, and I transferred all my healthcare over to my new doctor, I ended up mentioning, hey, there was something really weird that came up. Had my first ultrasound done July of 2023. Um, don't have the exact measurements. I do apologize, but they were still, the kidneys were still not severely enlarged. I believe my right kidney, I believe, was right below 12 centimeters, and the left one, I believe, was right below 14. And that was July of 23. My doctor actually wanted me to do a MRI of a cyst that was found in my liver. Just one cyst though, and I was actually really busy during the time with moving, also selling a piece of real estate, going through a lot of stressors. I kind of pushed off the MRI. Not to mention, I just really did not want to uh, do it because it kind of freaked me out, especially going to a renal appointment and hearing, hey, you have this thing that's gonna really affect you later on in life. And it was just kind of a kick in the chest, but I pretty much just brushed it off. I didn't do any researching, didn't take any dietary interactions, still was consuming a very high carbohydrate diet. And going back, a little forward to when I got injured in 2021, I stopped exercising entirely. I stopped running. Really was having tremendous amount of knee issues, arthritis, nerve damage. Stopped weightlifting, and I didn't put on any weight per se. I actually deflated a lot of muscle mass. My body is very weird. If I don't lift, I just lose all the muscle gains I end up making. So from middle of 2021 up until May 2024, yeah, it was a very high carb diet, high sugar. I started to enjoy a lot of things because I was, getting out of, the service, such as a lot of sodas, a lot of monsters, ice creams, etc., no exercising. Moving into 2024, this past year, I I honestly really don't know what it was, but I just had something pop in my head saying, "Hey, you should really schedule that MRI." So it was the end of May. Went in for MRI now, and I got a phone call the next day from my primary care doctor. It was not a good phone call. I was actually having a great morning. it's and I had to race in, do a bunch of blood work, and my kidney function was still good, but the imaging just showed like hundreds and hundreds of cysts. The kidneys now were 16 centimeters, 14 centimeters, so substantial growth in that short period of time. And right after there, a couple weeks went by, and I got a chance to see, talk to my renal doctor, and I said, hey, I've been doing a lot of research in this past 3 weeks. I came across this YouTube channel. Thank you so much for you guys posting on social media. So many people follow, and they're talking about this product. Yeah, it is a product, but it is specifically designed for polycystic kidney disease. There's also different programs out there, and hey, I'm watching other very credible, really big YouTubers like Dr. Berg, Dr. Barry has made videos talking about a ketogenic approach to treat polycystic kidney disease. And my renal doctor, was very, he listened. He let me talk for uh, a couple dozen minutes. And his take was, hey, you got to work on your blood pressure. And my blood pressure was significantly higher. I was averaging between 130, 140, and typically well over 90. And plus, like you said, it just didn't really make a lot of sense. I wasn't obese. I was definitely well within my body weight. And I said, hey, look, before I go on, some medication, let me try, doing a dietary, all behavioral, changes. Um, Strictly cut out the carbs, cut out, everything. Started light exercising to what I can do. Quickly enrolled into the Ren-Nu program and started taking Keto Citra. I believe as early as September of last year. But even before, it's just making the change off the carbohydrates, for me, my blood pressure dropped significantly, and I've been tracking it now, and I can definitely say my blood pressure has come down even more. I get on an average between typically in the low 100s over the mid 60s, and I've also I mean, I'm not a doctor, but yeah, I would love to hear your opinion about potentially maybe Keto Citra can help like high blood pressure maybe in a way, or
Right.
has there been any cases and stuff?
Mhm. Yeah. Well, let me let me just backtrack a little bit and sort of
Yep,
like recap. You said many, many things, very interesting. So basically, you were a young, very active guy, military background,
hmm,
and then out of the blue, at some point, due to some completely different reason, they got some ultrasounds and were told, oh, you have cysts in the kidney, polycystic kidney disease, which probably meant nothing to you at that time because you didn't have a family background. Most people have never heard of polycystic kidney
hmm.
disease. Um, so that must have been a little bit weird and shocking, I'm guessing, but you it was sort of like brushing it off because it didn't look so bad, right, in those ultrasounds at the time. And um, and eventually, you did the MRI scan, a much more refined version of actually looking at the kidneys where you can see much more detail. And suddenly there were lots and lots of cysts. And it became probably, it came to the point where you couldn't ignore it any longer. And your doctor probably, made, made sure that you got the message at that
Yeah.
point. Yeah, and I wonder how that was, the whole experience as you call yourself a mutant, so to speak. So everyone with PKD essentially is a mutant, but there's
Yeah.
always a first in a family, right? So you're kind of the first. You got the mutation first, and the experience can be quite different for someone who is the first in a family because you've never heard of the disease before, you've never seen a parent, grandparent, uncle, aunt, or so on go through it. So, how was that progression in your head? As you were realizing that you have a serious disease, and you need to do something about it.
Oh, it's absolutely horrifying. So July's appointment. with my or rather mid 2023, my renal doctor was definitely a different talk than, obviously the one in a couple weeks after my MRI in June. The talk was like, hey, kidney function is, yeah, you got, these cysts now, but um, I didn't really get, but then again, I didn't really pry so much. Big thing was no family history, which it's very tragic because I've talked to so many people as early as their parents had transplants in their like late 40s, 50s and stuff, and now so um not knowing what type of variant, and I also do have future labs coming up the next couple months, and I am gonna be getting a gene test, also too, which I'm looking forward to as well. But the next renal appointment that I had in June is like, yeah, hey, this is progressing very rapidly. You're looking at like 10 years potential renal failure. We talked a lot about different sizes. I mean, it's even though from yeah, from conversations I've had with a few people, you can't relate ultrasounds, to MRIs. There's some data out there, I guess, that suggests theoretically they should be the same. Some say that ultrasound can theoretically be maybe a little larger. The ultrasound that I just had done beginning of December that I shared in the fundraiser, the large kidney, the 16, I believe, was 16.2. So compared to, the ultrasound, it only got a point 2 centimeter larger. And the other kidney that was 14 got point 0.1 larger. Um, really looking forward to my MRI, in the next couple months, because then we have, significant, same imaging. But seeing that was extremely euphoric, knowing that all this stuff, it's, from all the research and the data. Yeah, I mean, hey, uh, I've done several different things, and I obviously from middle of 2023, not even a year. You're talking 10 months until May. The kidneys grew, so quick. But now from May until December, you're talking about half a year. Yeah, you don't see the same rapid, you know, growth and stuff. It's
Mhm.
just it's a tenth of like a centimeter. Um,
Okay. Okay. I feel like maybe I should recap again a little bit. So after your diagnosis and verification of the diagnosis, um, I wonder what your nephrologist, your kidney doctor recommended to do, or what did they say? Did they say, sorry, you got a genetic disease, there's nothing you can do? Or did they have any recommendations for drugs, for any diet or lifestyle at that point?
so definitely my lifestyle overall, both times I really saw my renal doctor is definitely improved. I ended up quitting nicotine tobacco. I was a dipper for a very long time. Ended up stopping that early 2023. So he was very very happy not using tobacco nicotine products. Sodium, can't even believe my old diet that was very high in carbohydrates. Well over 6,000 mg a day of sodium. Uh, Definitely high up there. Now on a daily basis, I keep my sodium between typically 2,200 to like 2,600 mg. Obviously, go a little higher, especially if I'm doing a high intense cardio workout. Definitely sweating. So sodium was definitely there, and just really controlling blood pressure. Definitely very happy that my blood pressure has came down significantly. But as for like a lot of the, it really feels that like a lot of the medical community just isn't very well versed on the dietary approach. Because I will say I did meet with a dietitian under my insurance that is separate, of the one that I've been, under the care of for several months now. And she was the one my insurance, was covering, um, very non-ketogenic friendly, very non or any type, whether it's keto, carnivore, anything which revolves around you being ketosis. Because I guess the narrative still is that, hey, a fairly higher amount of protein and also decreasing carbohydrates, may not be the way to go. And you should be on, I believe it's the DASH diet that is semi recommended, which is still very high in grains and carbohydrates. So you're not ever getting into a ketogenic state.
Mhm. Okay, great. So I'm assuming both your kidney doctor and the dietitian said the same thing, do the food pyramid kind of thing, but lots of
Yeah,
carbohydrates and probably stay away from fats and meats and things like that, um,
yeah,
which is kind of the typical approach to PKD. And we all know what happens, it progresses and it keeps progressing with that type of treatment. But in addition, you also had, some extra bumps in your diet back then. You had lots of sugar, lots of salt, and
mhm,
so on. So, and at some point, you figured out by yourself, through the internet, essentially, a different approach. The things we had started to publish and put together, and they were luckily covered by YouTubers and so on. You mentioned Dr. Berg and Dr. Barry and so on. Um, which is that approach is kind of the opposite of what a conventional dietitian and a conventional nephrologist would recommend, right? So they would never say, "Oh, go on a ketogenic diet." So I'm wondering when you brought that information to your renal doctor, what was the response from them?
just very um it's I just want to say receptive, but at the same time, at the end of the day, leaving, it's like, hey, just understand, you're going to need a transplant, and it's something that's made my journey through this is and this is my own, personal religious beliefs, but I don't want to go down dialysis. I personally, don't, but so um, that's one of the things that made me, fight for this approach is to avoid, dialysis. And also, to be honest, I'm kind of a stubborn human being also. So if you tend to really say like, hey, there's nothing you can do, no. I've actually haven't had it's something I've cut back significantly on in the last 6 7 months is alcohol intake. Um, Even though, when I was on this, a very high carb diet, only be drinking maybe 4 or 5 times out of the month. If you knew me in my 20s, very big partier, so you're talking 3 4 times a week.
Mm,
Um, but I just really believe that alcohol is something that I mean, especially for polycystic kidney disease, you gotta really look into avoiding. And I've been without alcohol now for going on almost 2 months, and I'm definitely going to be pushing it even further. And I just feel, amazing, and I have a lot of preparations to do, especially for this upcoming labs. I don't want, anything, in there, but yeah, it's absolutely 100%. The response I got was pretty much, hey, this is what's going to ultimately end up happening.
Oh,
but
interesting.
there was not
Yeah.
any, reassurance saying, hey, this may slow down progression,
Mhm.
too, or, it just, I pretty much got quoted a 10-year span to end-stage renal failure.
Mm.
So at that time, 35, 36 now, so I'd be like mid 40s.
Right. All right. So basically, you were told 10 years, it doesn't matter what you do. I mean, if I were you, I would have understood, oh, I got 10 years to eat the worst crap and the yummiest things I can possibly do because, after that it's over. But that's not what you did. But so you figured out, okay, the doctor says 10 years. And you did your research and you found maybe there's something you can do, and you really cleaned up your diet, got rid of the tobacco and the alcohol and the salt and so on. So that's pretty amazing. Most patients, I think, do not do that, unfortunately, because they never strongly get told by their renal doctor that there's even a chance it could slow down the progression. They basically get told, you got 10 years and it doesn't
Hmm.
matter what you do, which I think is a missed opportunity. And that's one of the things we were trying to change, by educating people, spreading the word, and raising awareness, and so on. And but luckily, you also found the Ren-Nu program and signed up for it. So how did that happen? How so you found it through the internet, and you sign up for it, but it is not. It's not free, or not even cheap. So it's quite a commitment. It's a 3-month program, pretty strict. What made you convinced enough to give it a try?
It's the same concept that I I just didn't believe there was nothing you could, do about it. Obviously we're on, YouTube. There's plenty of stuff. You kind of got to watch a little bit, but uh, there's stories out there from, various other, like, where doctors are telling people, hey, you don't have light, and people tend to really do the opposite. They fight for their own health in a different way, and they see, tremendous results. But I honestly just saw all the testimonies, and just how open, and yes, it's definitely wasn't covered by insurance, but then again, unfortunately, in our life, if you're gonna truly, fight for yourself, the vast majority of things aren't going to be covered by insurance. And knowing that I had to pay out of pocket, it actually kept me very disciplined and aligned with the program. Um, I didn't have a single cheat meal. My actual last large carbohydrate meal was August 10th. That was pasta, and I actually just recently had my first cheat meal in 4.5 months, which is well deserved after all the great results. Pigged out on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. Um, you're talking 10K calories, probably ate over, 1,000 carbs and pasta, pies, cakes. Took Keto Citra the entire time too, slowly was sipping on it to, definitely battle some oxalates coming in, but remarkable. I actually scored a zero point 0.5 on my ketones reading. Like my first zero point 0.5 was 36 hours after Christmas. It was a temporary number, but I was taking Keto Citra and then fully back into ketosis just under about a week. But another thing that really made me sign up for the Ren-Nu program is because you're you're totally right. People do think, well, I just got 10 years. I might as well, enjoy the next 10 years. This actually kind of not a, it's, it's, it's not the best statement because it's not going to be like, hey, you got 9 years, 11 months before, no, I went home and I was horrified. I learned about flank pains. Luckily, I have never had any, kidney pains, and my prayers and thoughts go out to everyone who does have the horrific, side pains. But um, it's 10 years, essentially to end stage renal failure, but you're going to be in pain, you're going to be in agony, all these, it's not going to be enjoyable 10 years. So I was doing stuff every single day, researching, looking at, your publications, just looking at anything I can do. And that really pushed me into the program, knowing that I can't wait 2 years from now. I can't even wait 6 months, from now, because these kidneys, they're growing rapidly.
Right. Great. Yeah. And, I wonder if you could maybe describe for the viewers what the Ren-Nu program even is. I mean, obviously I know it, but other people wouldn't know it, in a nutshell. How would you describe it and your experience in it?
It's it's not easy. The hardest thing that you can do for yourself is fight for your diet, but the results that you will get after going and making all these dietary changes are better than you can ever imagine, better than taking drugs. It's something very euphoric to see your metabolical state, your body really change. But in a nutshell, the program focuses on changing your metabolical system, going from running energy fuel source on glucose to on ketones. And the way you're going to do that is by going into ketosis, which is totally natural. We're actually born into ketosis. Some people get freaked out. No, it's a natural state. All it means is that your liver is breaking down fat, and the fat that gets broken down turns into ketones, and then the ketones are used for energy instead of your blood sugar. Your blood sugar level will drop, and your ketones will go up. Totally natural, and you pretty much do everything's in baby steps, and you're always going to have support there, right with you. And just like you said, Thomas, it's not cheap, so you got to give it 110%. You can't be sneaking in stuff here and there. You got to stay committed, and it's significantly harder. But once you get past the first couple weeks, routine really sets in, and it just becomes a daily thing where you're checking your glucose level 2 times a day, and you become excited to actually see all these results. And some people I hear do get discouraged, and that's because it's trial and error. What works for me may not work for everyone. It's if I avoid a certain food, I may produce more ketones. Someone else, they may be able to have a little bit extra carbs and stuff.
Mhm. Great. Super. Yeah. So it's a 3 month battle, but like you said, usually the first couple of months, and there's a hard part, when the body switches over to ketosis, when keto flu symptoms can kick in and things are a little difficult. And then after that, it becomes more and more of a lifestyle for most people. And also, like you said, symptoms tend to improve, pretty quickly sometimes.
Mhm.
And I wonder what that looked like for you. What improved for you?
So I never experienced any pain. Have read the testimonies about people saying their flank pain has significantly decreased. Um, as for me, I've just noticed a very stable blood pressure. It's just blood pressure is definitely the biggest. Obviously, I got back amazing, results and stuff from imaging, so that's definitely there too. As for being ketosis, I've definitely noticed. I do have a lot of arthritis, have nerve damage too. I've noticed that I've gotten a lot less flare-ups and some aches and pains tend to really be a lot less aggravating. So I mean, putting my body definitely into a anti-inflammatory state, getting rid of all the preservatives, added sugar, anything that will keep you from getting into ketosis has definitely been very beneficial. Um, for me, another great thing is just really behavioral health. Every single day I'm just in this very happy state. I feel great. I look great. I know you have other videos on here about talking about Keto Citra for long COVID. I typically get sick a couple times out of the year, right around Thanksgiving, and also typically it's 50-50 whether it's before Christmas Eve. I haven't been sick at all.
Mm.
I've had allergies, of course, some sinus
Yeah.
headaches, typical, but I'm talking like my seasonal flu. No, and I don't, me personally, I avoid the flu shot every year. I actually had a bad reaction years ago with one shot, but um, it just is pretty remarkable how I'm in a state of ketosis 24/7, and I'm also taking much needed minerals to boost my system up too. I definitely feel that has a contribution to good health.
Right. Interesting. Yeah. So, improved blood pressure is definitely very common of people that use Keto Citra, go for the Ren-Nu program. That's one of the common outcomes. Improving inflammation is that is really part and parcel of what it's all about, because the ketone beta hydroxybutyrate is a very potent
Mhm.
anti-inflammatory molecule. So I'm not surprised that your arthritis even improved. So that's great news. Not getting sick is interesting, from infections. I've heard this so many times from people that take KetoCitra, and I've been taking KetoCitra. I take it every day for the last whatever 4 years, and I've been on ketosis for the last 4 years. Same thing. I have almost never gotten sick except once
Yeah.
when I was traveling and I forgot my Keto Citra, and before you know it, I had COVID. um, for the whole pandemic, I avoided COVID, never got it. Only this one time when I dropped off. But yeah, so that's amazing to hear. And I wonder if you could maybe um, talk about your experience with Keto Citra itself. Are you taking it every day? Do you feel like it, in addition to all the dietary changes and lifestyle changes, it helps as well?
Oh yeah. Been taking it two scoops per day since beginning of beginning of September when I started the Renew program. And I did want to ask you because I know that you're supposed to slowly sip on it throughout the day and stuff. For me, there's been times where I've just had to kind of drink it a little quicker. Um, Personally, I've never had any adverse reactions taking it. I love the lemonade flavor. Hopefully you all are coming out with new flavors also too. Um, some stuff personally that I've noticed is that um, I've been drinking coffee now many years, so I don't get a perk up sensation anymore. But there's been times where I've taken Keto Citra, I especially later in the day, and I feel energetic, and I'm definitely guessing that's the added ketones, the added energy and stuff.
Mm.
But overall, I am definitely very strategic when I take it. If I'm consuming veggies, obviously anything with oxalates, cauliflower or blueberries, I'll definitely if I can't wrap some calcium around like some cheese and stuff, I'll definitely take Keto Citra. with it, but never had a bad reaction. I absolutely love how it is truly there's no drugs in here at all. It's all natural, minerals. I've had a few people ask me from my community that they were just really shocked on how you don't have like, something like hidden. And it's very blatant. Everything is natural. You guys also released a video, I believe, a couple weeks ago, talking about how pure and how much effort and time you go into actually making this, which is very important for polycystic kidney disease. Knowing that everything is very natural and there's nothing hidden or genetically modified or any drugs and stuff. But um, I I've seen too much results personally to really sway away from Keto Citra and just kind of really say, well, I've done other things. Maybe it was the other things I did. For me, it's like it's like a safety net almost.
Mhm. Interesting. Yeah, I've heard many people say that. All right. And just as a reminder for anyone who has made it this far, looking at us and listening to us, nothing we discuss, of course, is medical advice. Everybody is different, has different comorbidities in different situations. So then we're not handing out medical advice. Um, yeah, so that's very interesting. So you went through the whole Ren-Nu program, which is nutritional lifestyle changes plus taking Keto Citra, and I'm assuming you're sticking to it and planning to stick with it, um, and have seen improvements, in your general health and well-being, and arthritis pain and things like that. And it looked like maybe your kidney imaging seemed to get better. The kidney growth maybe slowing down. Also, that needs confirmation by another MRI scan that is coming up. I'm wondering, have you had a chance yet to discuss all this with your renal doctor, and what did they say about it?
So this actually one thing I'm really looking forward to, and that's going to be probably beginning of March, middle of March, once the MRI is done. The doctor's appointment that I had in December was with my primary care doctor, going over, the imaging, and I can't remember if I did mention this before or if I didn't, but one of the scary things, and I've been told by multiple people that this is something very, big. Back in May of 24, when I had my MRI, I was only consuming probably about 60, maybe 70 grams of protein a day. Very, very high carbs, like 500 plus grams of carbs a day. Lots of sugar added, probably about between 250 to maybe 350 grams of sugar daily. Now I've reverse, ship. I actually take in about 110 grams of protein a day, keep my carbs in the 30 range. The sugar I get is just from natural sources, blueberries too, so about 25 grams. But I started to leak some protein. Even though it was a small amount, it was clear that damage had been done, proteinuria, and it's from what I've been told. Once you go down that road, it's pretty much, But I'm in my doctor's office and I hear that, and it's just like, wow, it's just that's unreal. Um, so I really think that's a big thing, but like you said, it's other people may be different. It's definitely not a medical doctor. I'm not telling people with PKD or CKD, chronic kidney disease, increase protein, but it worked for me. And uh, at my next renal appointment, I'm definitely going to be bringing in one of these bottles, for sure.
Yeah.
Um, and hopefully I do get support. It would be really nice to hear
Mhm.
that.
Right. Yeah. Just to double check. So you said you experienced a proteinuria, so protein leaking into the urine, when
Yep,
you were on sort of the dirty diet. And did that improve after the Ren-Nu program and Keto Citra, or it
it
hasn't
did.
been measured
Yep.
yet? It did. Okay. Right.
Yep.
Okay.
That was the data that I got back in
Right.
December. December's
Okay.
data. Yep.
That's
So
amazing. Yeah. Right.
my renal panel that I had right after my MRI in May started leaking a tiny amount, but just the I was taking such a small amount of protein too, 60 grams, and then all throughout the Renew program, I was on a very high protein. It's definitely 110 grams. And it's to hear that it was just it I didn't get emotional on the outside, but I got emotional on the inside.
Right. Yeah.
It was very great hearing.
Yeah. Okay. Excellent. And there's a whole huge controversy in the whole kidney medicine field.
Mhm.
The old style thinking is, oh, if someone has kidney disease, they have to be protein restricted. Don't
Mhm.
eat protein, maybe it's going to kill your kidneys even more. The science hasn't really supported this. All the studies that have been coming out essentially say there's no association there. And in fact, if anything, it's the opposite. If somebody is severely protein restricted, their overall mortality is actually lower, or is worse, I should say. Um, so, okay, that's interesting. So you have done it, probably the right way, and things have been improving. I'm very curious, of course, what your renal doctor will say based on experience or anecdotes, and I've heard from many other people. They're probably just going to brush it off and say, oh, this probably has nothing to do with your diet and lifestyle changes. This is probably just a random fluctuation,
Yeah.
but we'll see. Maybe you have a more enlightened doctor. There's definitely some really good doctors out there, and we're collaborating with many of them. We're doing clinical trials, to test the long-term outcomes and so on. But I would say the garden variety doctor out there has probably never heard anything about the research, and that, hopefully you have a better one. But maybe you can educate them and let them know what you know. That's amazing. I wanted to quickly touch back on this, the fundraiser you did, which was really amazing. What what gave you the idea? I mean, you contacted me kind of out of the blue, saying, "Hey, I want to do a
Mhm.
fundraiser," and that was a very nice surprise. What gave you the idea?
Um, I'm definitely in a position of power. Definitely have a following on YouTube. Even my community is nothing kidney related. PKD. It's a gaming. It's video gaming. Totally in the opposite direction of everything. Um, but when you're in a position of power. And I've been in leadership jobs starting at a very, very, very young age. It just for me it didn't feel right getting back all that great data, and it wouldn't make me sleep at night knowing that um, you could make a difference. It doesn't matter how big or how small. I said in the first video, all I care about is talking to at least one person, and the first day ended up talking to many people with PKD. Um, and out of the well over 4 dozen people that I've talked to now, they're very separate from this awareness. They're not in any of the Facebook groups out there, social media groups. They're aware of it because of family history, but they're not aware of the dietary approach. So obviously, fundraiser definitely want to. We ended up raising slightly above $9,000, which was awesome, and I'm so glad that went to fund your future research and your research lab. Once again, thank you for every single thing you all do. So uh, sending the monetary aspect, that's a great thing to fund future projects, and then also spreading awareness too. I had other content creators, friends of mine that I didn't even ask to, hey, but they ended up making videos which got a tremendous amount of views. It's I it's I anticipated maybe some haters would, but I actually had the opposite. I actually had one hater reach out to me saying, "Hey, I'm not a fan of, your YouTube content, but I actually have a family member with some, pretty bad health risks, so, just, praying for you, but still don't like you." And I'm like, all right, so it was a very positive, week-long, event
Right.
that we did.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I really, sorry,
Mhm. Oh, no.
really do believe the message got out there, which was
Right.
to spread awareness.
Absolutely. Yeah. I was really blown away. I watched all your videos and saw like hundreds and hundreds of comments, from all your fans. And I think you have made quite an impact in the lives of these folks from years and years ago already, right? So they have been following you for many years, and they had many nice comments. So I think that was a pretty unique experience here, and really appreciate the almost $10,000 that you were able to raise, and that helps our academic research at the University of California, my research lab. Research is expensive, and having those types of funds is actually fantastic because we can use them outside of a defined project, and that happens all the time in research. You stumble on something unexpected, and you want to follow up on it, but you can only do it if you have some funds you can use for that. So that is definitely extremely helpful. Yeah, so that's amazing, and I should probably tell people. So you're an influencer, a gamer, have a large following of people that play a particular game that I know nothing about gaming, but
Yeah.
it was like a very popular game at the time, and has still has people that play it. Um, so, what are your plans for the future with your YouTube channel, with your followers? Are you, I've seen more and more content that you have, on sort of like metabolic health questions, kidney related things. Is this where you're taking it, or, um, you know, what's up in the future for you?
Um, Definitely a lot is going to be harping on. I think, well, good or bad. I've definitely, already came out publicly with, this, I, I chronic disease, that I have and stuff. So I get asked, all the time, about updates. Mentioned it in a couple videos saying, hey, I have new imaging coming up in the next couple months, but definitely will be sharing stuff there, and would love to have you back, especially Thomas, for an interview too. I do have a sponsorship with you all for Keto Citra, so I definitely talk about it, definitely throughout. Yeah, it's in every video that I do uh, upload, especially for the awareness. And something that you also hit on too is that I have a gaming community, but polycystic kidney disease doesn't care who you are or what type of community that you're part of. And it's pretty shocking about how many, because the fairly overall population in this game is relatively, on the younger side, but you see how many people actually are, aware or have, PKD themselves. So it's more common than you think. Um,
Mm.
but otherwise, yeah, for future, I'm just really keeping my mind on a good path right now, sticking to great dietary, living, daily very ketogenic diet, being in ketosis, taking Keto Citra, exercising, avoiding obviously terrible things like alcohol, tobacco, nicotine, and just really preparing for those images, MRI, in the next couple months.
Right. Yeah, excellent. No, I really applaud you for what you're doing, coming out with a chronic disease as a young person, especially, and having young followers, because it's not usually on the, forefront of everybody's mind, in their 20s, 30s. That chronic diseases are even a thing, but nobody thinks about it. But so many people have it, and you mentioned you got in touch with like about 50 people with polycystic kidney disease, which is just like one small niche part of all the other chronic diseases out there. So I think it's fantastic that you raise awareness and are really a good example to people, but because if somebody watches you and says, hey, if NightmareRH can do it, maybe I can do it and can turn my diet around. So that's amazing. Yeah, great. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate that you came on here and told us about your experience, and greatly looking forward to coming back on your channel anytime you want me to. Great. Thank
really
you,
looking. Yeah, thank you so much once again, everything you do, and really looking for those new images too, which you'll be one of the first people to hear about the results.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Great. Thanks a lot. Bye.